The other one is they dropped it from 15 rounds down to 12.
Which, look, they should do that again. You know, I'm not the fighter, but those 15-round fights were unbelievable.
They were unbelievable.
They were unbelievable.
Yeah, you go back to the golden age.
Yeah, in terms of entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the championship rounds. Those were the greatest fights
Those
ever.
last 3 rounds were crazy.
That was brutal.
I mean, it's such a war of attrition. You know, a lot of people think even like a 5-round UFC fight. The UFC is 5-minute rounds. It's so much energy you're burning out. And those last couple of rounds, those 5-round fights, the 4th and the 5th round, unbelievably brutal.
Who's the greatest UFC fighter? Are you allowed to say, in your opinion? It's tough for you to say because you do this, but who do you think is the greatest of the fighters?
There's a lot of arguments for who's the greatest of all time. You know, John Jones, most people would say is the greatest of all time, never lost. There's certainly a really good argument for that. There's another argument for Georges St. Pierre. I always leave in B.J. Penn in his prime, Anderson Silva in his prime. You know, Mighty Mouse. People forget about Mighty Mouse because, unfortunately, he's a smaller guy. He's 125 pounds, flyweight champion. He's one of the greatest expressions of mixed martial arts I've ever seen. I think to this day.
And Khabib? What about
Khabib's fantastic. But if you looked at like accomplishments in terms of championship fights, Khabib retired 29-0, but he didn't have as many world
probably
championship
never lost
fights.
a round. They say
he might have lost to Gleison Tebow. He might have lost to him.
A round?
He might have lost a round. And that was a controversial fight where people think that Gleison Tebow could have even got the decision in that fight. I'd have to go back and watch it again to make a decision. But
they're great athletes.
Oh, the best athletes in the world. And the most dangerous sport in terms of like, I always call it high-level problem solving with dire physical consequences.
Yeah, it's just brutal.
That's what fighting is.
You know, I'll never forget. So there was a fighter named James Toney.
Oh, yeah, I love James Toney.
He fought as a very light fighter, and he ended up as a heavyweight. I mean, this guy went through everything. He was almost like a lightweight.
He went from middleweight all the way up to heavyweight. Yeah, and Peter Vander Holyfield is a heavyweight.
And he was a real fighter.
Oh, yeah.
So James Toney, and I think it was, say, George
St. Pierre?
St. Pierre. I think it was him. Who did he fight? James Toney.
No, James Toney didn't fight George St. Pierre.
He fought a UFC fighter.
Yeah, Randy Couture fought James Toney.
Was it
But
Randy
that was like
Couture?
an easy
Maybe.
fight. That was a very easy fight. Randy Couture just took him down and strangled him.
It was the most, and he's half the size. And he just, once he got to the ankles, in fact, the announcer said, it's over.
Yeah,
and he put him to
picked him,
sleep.
took him down, mounted him, strangled him. It was
and
pretty
James,
quick.
he was in a